Tactics in World War One. The most important thing to remember in terms of tactics for the First World War was that for 6 weeks it was a war of movement. So they were charging each other on cavalry, and when the Battle of the Marne took place, they started to realise that because of the trenches, warfare would be totally and utterly different from any war that had ever been fought before. So what are the tactics of trench warfare? Well, pretty much I can sum it up in one word: attrition. If you're not writing about attrition in your exam, you're getting something wrong. You should definitely be mentioning that word. So attrition was basically wearing down your enemy. They were trying to kill more of you than you could have of them. So that's what happened. And all of the countries were using that tactic. It wasn't just Britain and France, all the countries were using that. Now what's important in terms of attrition is because trench warfare was all about defence and protection, there was very little options in terms of how they could possibly try to win this war. So what they did was, first of all, is they used the big artillery guns from behind the lines to try and bombard or create a barrage onto the enemy trenches. So it was trying to destroy as much of the enemy trenches as they possibly could. So what then happened is once they'd done that for a few days, and usually it was about a week that they'd done that for, they then went completely silent with the guns, and that was the signal that they were going to go over the top. So a whistle would blow and the men would then be told to go over. So they run across no man's land towards the enemy trenches, and it would always be one side that would run first. So they run on to the other trenches, and then obviously the Germans would be there with the machine guns ready to defend their positions. So they went over no man's land, and obviously it was extremely difficult to survive on no man's land because there was no shelter or anything there. Occasionally they hid in some of the craters that had been created by the barrage that had come across from the artillery guns, but apart from that you were just having to run across and you were being fired at. There was barbed wire in front of the trenches, so often people got stuck on that and then became a sitting target for the enemy guns to shoot at you. And the problem with actually taking a trench was, once you got into that trench, there would be men in there trying to defend it. If those men had all been killed, there'd be people coming from the trench system behind to get in there to push you back. So in the end it became a bit of a cat and mouse. So then they would run back to their trenches and then the Germans would run at them. So it was a lot of backwards and forwards warfare. And obviously the tactic of attrition that was used was extremely unpopular with the people at home because it cost millions of young men, fundamentally, their lives.